Wow, stories.
My 31-year-old female partner and a 34-year-old male received an incredibly thoughtful and generous gift of plane tickets for his birthday from his parents to visit his brother and family in Australia for a long weekend. We live in New Zealand. It's a much-needed break for him, and he's been needing some time with his brother, sister-in-law, and nieces and nephews. Everything was all good and well. However, life got in the way with a few big moments. The first being, the date they had booked was around my partner's brother's birthday, which sadly fell on the first anniversary of my granddad's passing. A thing to note is I was incredibly close with my granddad, and so was my partner. My partner had a discussion with his parents around whether the tickets could be changed to a different date. It was near impossible, as they had purchased non-refundable tickets. All fine. Then he asked if it was possible for me to drive my partner to the airport instead of them, and this is where the tension started with his parents. I personally wasn't there, so all I have to go on is what my partner has told me, and he said his mom became oddly pushy and stated that she had sympathy for whatever I was going through, but she was taking her son to the airport and I couldn't be there. Okay, a bit odd, but again fine. Then, 2 weeks before he's due to leave, I received news that my dad has a complex mutation of leukemia, and the doctors say they aren't able to do anything for him without shortening the life expectancy he has left. This again led to another discussion around changing the dates so we could all be with Dad on Granddad's anniversary, given it will be the only anniversary we'll share with him due to his illness. Again, the response was, while we feel sympathy and want to know what's going on with your dad, we're still pushing for you to go on this trip away. Okay, we get it. He's going on the trip. Now, leading into what's happening currently, earlier this week, I took a pregnancy test, and it was faintly positive. I was so excited and scared to believe it was real, as I have fertility struggles and didn't think this would be possible. After telling my partner, we decided to take another test, and instead of the standard tests we usually get, we purchased a digital one and tested a couple of days later, and sadly, it came back with a negative test result. Hope crushed, believing it may have been a false positive, and I ended up getting my period last night, which was a lot heavier and more painful than usual. Now, as mentioned, I've had fertility struggles, and as such, have been going through pre-fertility treatment testing, and happen to have complete blood work done this week, as well as reproduction hormones and thyroid tests. Today's the day my partner flies out, and I received a call from my doctor to discuss my blood results, and she advised that a couple of the tests indicated I was pregnant, and she wanted me to have a human chorionic gonadotropin blood test done to confirm the other tests' indication. I then had to tell her about the pregnancy tests and getting my period that was heavier than normal, to which she replied that I likely had a pregnancy and am now miscarrying. I'm shaken. I didn't think more could be thrown at me while I'm grieving the loss of my granddad and the soon-to-be loss of my dad. When I was told this, I thought I needed to talk with my partner about this immediately, and then I doubted my need to talk to him about it because he was leaving on a trip, and I didn't want him to have this on his mind. But at the same time, I knew he wouldn't forgive me if I let him leave without telling him. So I spoke to my partner and told him what the doctor said, why we had the positive test, then a negative one, and why my bleeding is heavier and more painful than normal. And his reaction was as expected. He was upset and sorry, but he was also saying how sorry he was while speeding around the house trying to pack his bag because his parents would be there in an hour to take him to the airport. I don't know what it was, but the gravity of the whole situation hit me, and I said some things I'm not proud of, but I feel are also true. I said I didn't think he cares about this because he can't even give me the time to talk about it. I went further to say that while he gets to be over there, I'll be here miscarrying our baby by myself, and he doesn't think enough of me or this pregnancy I'm passing to stay behind and help me through this. I'm not proud of hurting him with my words, and I know they hurt him, but I'm also so scared of finishing this on my own. And I felt hurt that he was trying to pack his bags to escape while also trying to comfort me in a situation I've never been through before. In the end, I needed to leave, said goodbye, and wished him a safe flight. I have been sitting at the beach grieving, crying, thinking, writing, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm not sure this is something I can forgive him for leaving me alone to pass this pregnancy by myself. And yet I feel selfish at the same time because I know he needed this break too. I'm confused, overwhelmed, sad, heartbroken, and angry. I love him so much. We've been together through difficult times and have always had each other's backs. But this is too much right now. Has anyone been through something similar, or has any advice for how to get through the grief, but also forgive my partner? Maybe I'm overthinking everything and having expectations that aren't fair to him. Now for an update. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. There are so many moving parts here. Parents booking him a trip to spend a long weekend with his brother. Totally okay, in my opinion. A present for both their kids. They paid for the trip. They want to be part of it by driving him. I am not huge on death anniversaries, so it might be they feel the same way. This was all booked before the news about your dad. There was nothing your partner could do about this. You can spend the time with your dad. The miscarriage is a hard one. I have had early and late miscarriages. Sounds like yours was early, and you were already in the process, which means it is safer for you. Not nice, but for many, it is just like a heavy period. It really comes down to personalities. It is emotional, and the hormones do go a bit crazy. I would not have minded for the early ones. The midterm ones I needed hospital care for, so I would have very much minded during those. Take a moment. You have a lot going on. Go spend the time with your dad. Deal with your partner after. Comment 2. I'm just going to address the first portion. Your partner was going to see his brother for a long weekend. To me, a long weekend means about 4 days. So first, you wanted him to reschedule because the trip coincided with the anniversary of your grandfather's death. This is not a reasonable request, especially since you knew this trip was long overdue for your fiancé. Then, you raised the stakes by making this anniversary about your dad's imminent death. Just these two incidents suggest to me that you just didn't want him to go. He does not need to be there to celebrate this family event with you. And if his family hasn't seen him in a while, I can understand why they would encourage him to come home instead. You knew the tickets weren't refundable. I just don't see why you put him in this position in the first place. Now, for the update. I'm sitting on my couch, mindlessly scrolling through social media like it's my job. My partner has been in Australia for 2 weeks now, and honestly, it feels like forever. I'm just trying to survive while he's off, relaxing from all the stress in his life. Yeah, right. Anyway, out of nowhere, I get a DM from a family friend who lives in Australia. I barely even register it before I open it, and there it is, a photo from a beach party that my partner is clearly at. He's laughing, looking all relaxed, and oh yeah, holding hands with some woman who looks super familiar. My stomach drops, like, she looks really familiar. I'm not just being paranoid here, I recognize her. She's someone from his college days, a friend of a friend or whatever, but I know who she is. And not in a, I'm a cool girlfriend and I know all his friends kind of way. More like a, I've seen this girl at parties and I know she had a crush on him kind of way. I'm feeling all kinds of uneasy and I just need a second opinion, so I shoot a screenshot of the photo to my sister. Her response is immediate and it's basically what I was thinking. That doesn't seem right. She's all, what's going on? But I just tell her I'll call her later. I'm not ready to confront my partner. I mean, he's still in Australia, so it'll have to wait until he gets back. I need to figure out how to handle this face to face. He gets back and we meet at our favorite restaurant for dinner. I can't even look at him for the first few minutes. He's all casual, asking about my week while digging into his food. But I finally ask about the woman from the party. He plays dumb at first, saying her name, and then goes into how she was just an old friend. But come on, an old friend doesn't hold your hand while you're partying on the beach. I call him out on how cozy they look in the photo, and that's when everything goes crazy. He gets super defensive, saying I'm being unreasonable after everything he went through. The restaurant is packed and people are looking over at us. I just want to disappear. He says he needed the trip to relax. Like, I get it, you needed a break. I needed a break too, but I wasn't holding hands with some dude on the beach. Then he says something that triggers me. He brings up how I have my own struggles too. What does that even mean? The next day, I'm done being passive about this. I organize a family dinner, inviting both sets of parents and my sister. I need witnesses for this. The dinner is at my parents' house, and everyone brings something to eat. It's a big family affair, and I can tell my partner is confused when he shows up. He has no idea what I'm up to. During dinner, I casually mention the photo to the family. His face turns white. The atmosphere shifts, and everyone's looking at him now. My dad asks about the woman, and my partner is squirming in his seat. He tries to explain, but he sounds even less convincing when he's under pressure. My mom, sensing the tension, tries to lighten the mood by suggesting we all talk about our summer plans. This is my moment to shine. I casually mention that I'm going on a trip with friends. The look on his face is priceless. He tries to downplay it, but I can see he's uncomfortable. The family starts getting excited about my trip, and I can tell my partner is realizing that he doesn't get a say in my plans. Dinner ends, and it's awkward but satisfying. My partner tries to apologize the next day, but I'm not having it. I cut him off, saying he needs to respect my space and let me decide what I want. He agrees, but I can see the worry in his eyes. He's genuinely scared of losing me, and honestly, I'm scared too. To answer a few questions, my partner and I have been together for 2 years, living together for 1. His trip was a gift from his parents for his birthday, and they knew I was struggling but still encouraged him to go. The woman in the photo is a former friend of his from college, and while they were never romantically involved, she had a crush on him. My sister lives nearby, and my parents are close to both of us, which is why I involved them.